Thank you very much for tuning into That Will Never Work podcast. I have a question for you. What if the life you're dreaming about is really within reach, but hidden behind beliefs you didn't even realize you were carrying? Today, Yvonne Trost joins me to talk about breaking free from the inside out and finally embracing the calling that's been tugging at your heart. We'll talk about it right after this.
Educate, empower, enable, impact. Thank you for tuning in to That Will Never Work, an award-winning podcast where we share inspiring information and personal experiences related to business and the entrepreneurial journey from those who are leaders in their respective field. Now, here's your host, author and business coach, Maurice.
I thank you very much for tuning in. So we're going to jump all the way into this, right? So, Yvonne, how do you know if the biggest obstacle in your life isn't your circumstances, but the story we've been telling ourselves all along? And more importantly, what happens when we finally rewrite the story?
We need multiple hours. Let's talk to it. You know, it's never about what's happening. It's never about the circumstances. Like even Maurice, if you and I got in a fight, it wouldn't even be about you, right? You know, whether you've read the 4 agreements or you've heard people say don't take things personally and you're like, but they were a real jerk or this is really unfair, la, 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 all the reasons. It is actually never, ever about your circumstances. And it's all about the meaning you give what's happening. Your reality is actually in your control, and it's shaped by the thoughts that you give, right? The interpretation you make of what is happening in your life. And so it's actually never your circumstances, and it's always the story that you give what's happening in your life. Always. You and I could be experiencing the exact same, whatever. Say we're at a business conference and we're sitting side by side at the same table. We could have completely different realities.
Yes.
Based upon the thoughts that we gave the experience. Same thing. You'll hear time and time again. Children have completely different experiences in the same family. Why is that? It's not just because the parents changed. It's the meaning that those children gave it. Right? Same thing at work, where somebody sees a challenge, another person sees an opportunity. Now, we can dive more into, based upon whatever you want to ask, how do you find out and then unlock yourself?
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the things that I'm listening to you makes me consider, what is my level of emotional intelligence?
Yeah.
You know, because one, when we talk, I'm going to use your examples, talking about the fight, right?
Yeah.
So the question is, am I able to keep my emotions in check for us to not even have the fight to begin with? And not to feel totally offended to get to whatever level that might be, whatever that fight might be. And being able to be conscious enough to talk it through and respect the differences that we have. Now going into your example of the conference, right? Again, maybe I'm tired.
If you ask me, it could be that I'm usually tired. But that's all right.
So I think those are the things that we need to understand. What are we feeling, whether it's emotional intelligence or even just our physical state where we're tired, we're sleepy. This conference has been going on, and I may not have been getting out of it as much as you might have at that particular moment, because again, we don't know each other's background like that, in that moment. So how do we keep those things in check, as we're moving through this thing called life?
There's so many things that you just said that I want to pull the thread on. The first is, it's very important what Maurice is saying around understanding not just your emotional state, but your physical state. In Western society, we try and compartmentalize the human being. You cannot. The mind, body, and spirit are all interwoven, interconnected. They influence each other, right? So right now we'll go to the gym to work on our body, and we'll go to the therapist to work on our mind, and we'll go to the general practitioner to work on our blood pressure, whatever it is. It's also compartmentalized in the way that we have been taught, but you actually can't. So the interrelation between those things is huge that you brought up. The second thing is the taught piece, right? We are not taught about emotional intelligence. Maybe there's a couple after school specials or programs or something, right? But we're not taught human being 101.
Right.
Right? We're taught about business, we're taught about money, we're taught about math, English, all these things, and those are great. But the most complicated thing on this planet, Maurice, is what? What have we not been able to recreate without our creator's help?
I would say peace. That's one thing.
Yes. Well, no, that you can actually do, and I'll teach you how. What we haven't been able to do is clone Maurice. Not that I know of, unless it's like top secret somewhere. We have not been able to clone a human being. We are the most complicated, most valuable, most powerful. Nobody teaches us about it. I'm sorry, sex ed in high school was not what we needed.
Right.
We didn't even get the quick start guide. So the questions that Maurice is asking, if you're listening, I want you to also ask those. I want you to get curious about your human being. Yes, you can learn about business, and you can learn about CRMs and sales and marketing and AI and all the things. They're not near as powerful as you are. So that's when you talked about at the beginning, looking inside first.
Right.
That's where there's a huge return on your investment, is by first thinking about, what is the human being's capabilities? What are my specific capabilities? How have I been shaped as a human being? That's where we have to start. The third thing that I want to pull the thread on, you said keeping your emotions in check. I'd like to change that a little bit. We have been taught over and over again to hide emotions, control emotions, mask emotions, keep them in check. I don't want you to keep them in check. I want you to bring them close. Maurice, by the time you're 35, modern science has proven 95% of what you say, do, think, your personality, business decisions you make, you as a leader, whatever it is, whether it's at home or at work, is driven by your subconscious mind. 95%. Autopilot. And that autopilot was coded mostly before you were 10. So we've just established we're the most complicated thing on the planet, right? So think rocket ship, think whatever's most complicated to you, and then put a 6 or 7-year-old at the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. So your subconscious mind doesn't speak English, French, German, Spanish, anything. It speaks emotions and sensations. So your emotions, I don't want you to keep them in check. I don't want you to keep them hidden. I want you to bring them closer. What is it trying to tell you? It's information from the most powerful operating system in your head. So here's a little way, if you're listening, you're like, oh my God, they've already lost me. Here's a little way to think about it. Most people know Einstein's equation for energy, right? E equals mc squared.
Yes.
Talked to him a little bit, and he agreed I could change it. So here it is. The energy you want in your life, remember that thing you thought peace we couldn't create? Actually, you can. The fight you and I had fictitiously had.
Right.
Here's how we do it. We use that equation. It's mindful thinking raised to the power of, here, listen up, compassion and curiosity. This works at work. This works at home. This works everywhere. If you want to tap into your most powerful asset, which is you, this is what you do. First, even if you and I are really mad at each other, and how do we stop, right? Like some people are like, Yvonne, how would I even think about it? I'm like, this is how you make elephants fly easily, effortlessly. I look at you, Maurice, and I know whatever it is you're doing, it's either a call for love or a show of love. And if it didn't feel like love coming at me, that's you calling for love. Even if you're manipulating me or being mean or whatever, That's a little Maurice inside, your inner child, which is your subconscious mind,
Right.
doing whatever it can to protect itself.
Right.
And it thinks that that's how it does it. So rather than me being mad at you or me taking things personally, I know that there's no way I can take it personal because it's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how you feel about you and your world. So that's how I have compassion. That's that little life hack. It's a human being hack. Like, I don't have to get mad. I don't have to get even. I don't have to retaliate. I don't have to like try and one up you.
Mm-hmm.
I get to love you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I start with compassion, even if you're being mean to me. I'm like, then I get curious.
Okay.
Huh. What might be the reason Maurice is calling for love in that way? And then I also get curious because it's not that I can control you or I'm a recovering fixer. I want to help you, but I can't fix you. You are you. Only thing I can do is like grow myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I get curious, why did that bother me? I want you to have peace no matter what's going on around you. Joy, love, success, inside out. And how you can do that is first understanding your own human being. So maybe you said something and I felt judged. I'm like, oh, yeah, I know why. I got grounded if I didn't get straight A's. I always got compared to my peers.
Right.
I was never enough. My parents loved me. That's
Mm-hmm.
how they thought they should love me so that I could be successful and grow and make money and be safe.
Right.
Right? Because they didn't grow up with a lot. So it's always well-intentioned, but you actually can create peace
Mm-hmm.
with just understanding your own human being. And if you run a business or if you work in a business, guys, this is an amazing leadership skill, right? You are not in an era where command and control, like I grew up with, works.
Mm.
This is not a thou shalt do it because I walk barefoot in the snow uphill both ways
I
to
know that's right.
school. That doesn't work anymore. So wake up.
Mm-hmm.
What Maurice said about emotional intelligence, that is the key asset of leaders in the future. It's not going to be like what you know because AI knows everything you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be the humanity. It's going to be the emotional intelligence. It's going to be the human connection.
And there's a part of that I would like to explain. When I say keep it in check, so for me, right, I prefer to see your passion in that particular situation because now I know that you're invested. You're not just rattling something off, right? And so now I know how to deal with it and to have that dialogue with you because it's about having a communication. It's about dialogue and the as you're talking about the exchange of energy, right?
Yeah,
Without
absolutely.
without taking it to another level where you hear people calling each other name, all the elementary school yard type stuff. You get what I mean?
Yeah, that's the mini you coming out, right?
You're right. So but now as from the adult perspective, let's handle this as adults saying, hey, I love to see your passion. Maybe because the reality is, especially in the business sense, sometimes that passion, when it comes out, that person might want to invest in you because now they believe that you believe in what's going on. Maybe a little tweaks here and there or whatever it is. So I just want to give you an idea of what I was talking about when I was talking about making sure that we kind of check our emotion where it's not totally out of control and we're back in second and third grade.
Absolutely. There is a really cool free resource I have on my website. If you go to Unlock Limitless You, because I believe you're all limitless, unlocklimitlessyou.com/resources, or you could just do /joy. There's something I call the Joy Regenerator.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually helps do exactly what Maurice is saying. It gives you like a little playbook. How do I feel the emotion and not get swept away from it?
Yeah.
But I bring it in close. I love it. I breathe. Remember, we can't compartmentalize ourselves.
Right.
You will go in unconsciously, not of your choice, into flight, fight, or freeze if you feel threatened. So it helps you breathe, reconnect, ground, get out of that fight or flight response, right? Because when you feel attacked, even in business, that's why people go back to the playground
Right.
and they got to like defend themselves, right? I had this huge right monster. I used to have it all the time. So it teaches you how to go through that. And then I love, Maurice, what you said about energy.
Mm-hmm.
Energy is so important for people to understand. I say your skin's overrated, right? Like, even if no words come out of your mouth, I can feel your energy. Even if I don't know I'm feeling it, I
Right.
am feeling it and it's impacting me. So, what I typically will do, even in my own life, I'll say, I feel like my energy's a little off, or I'm sensing your energy isn't like it normally is. Let's talk about this. And then the first thing you have to do, you don't have to do it, but I highly recommend it. It's in the Joy Regenerator, is to make sure that person feels safe.
Mm-hmm.
So say we go back to our fight. Maybe let's put it right in the conference. We're at the conference and you're not listening and I'm upset at you and you say something to me and I'm like, whoa, and that triggers me. And I start to feel like I feel it. This is where you guys should feel your body.
Mm-hmm.
So many times we're trying to like tune out from feeling our body. Where do you feel it? Like, feel the sensation, right? Depending on where you feel it might tell you something. For me, I usually feel it in my solar plexus, which is the host of your identity. I'm like, okay, I'm going to breathe through this. And then I'm going to give myself some love and know that it's actually not about me, the thing that you just said to me. And I'm going to say, okay, it's not about me. I know why this is triggering me because I feel judged. I lean into gratitude. I say 3 things that I'm grateful for, right? Trying to cool my system down. And then I approach you and I have a conversation. I said, Maurice, it's not your fault. That's the first thing you got to do, because otherwise people are going to think you're blaming them. Maurice, it's not your fault. When you said this to me, the story I made up in my head,
Right.
again, not your fault. The story I made up in my head was that you didn't think I was smart enough, successful enough, had the experience enough, whatever it was, right? That's a story I made up in my head. I want to better understand your intention and process why this might be bothering me so that I can heal and we can be more deeply connected and aligned.
So I'm going to play along with that for a moment, Yvonne.
Let's do it.
Because I'm going to say, my response will be, well, Yvonne, we're sitting here at this conference and I noticed that, 2 workshops ago, you raised your hand and said you had 100,000 followers on Instagram, right? And I can't even get 1,000. I'm barely get 1,000 likes in a year, or because we feel pressure of what our peers are doing, Yvonne, and I don't know how to get over that. So how can I get myself resettled, get back into my skin, find my peace? Because I feel as though because you have 100,000 followers, that means the story in my head, that means at least a quarter of them, maybe a third of them are buying your product. Which is why you have on this diamond necklace and diamond earrings and diamond things where I don't have that. You drove up in your Range Rover, I drove up in my Toyota Camry, so Yvonne, so how do I get over what I see and what I saw within the session to understand, hey, you know what? I need to have or understand my own value even in that moment.
I love that question. So I have a tribe and so Limitless You is the name of my company. We just have Unlock Limitless You, but we have this tribe. We do these weekly masterminds so that we can work through things exactly like this. Every single week, 2 times a week, we get together, and whether we're talking about boundaries or, we're talking about relationships, or we're talking about all the things that the human being 101, 201, 301, 401, we don't get to learn. You can definitely check that out. There's another great tool that it's free on my website. It's called Getting to the Root of It. So what, Maurice, my response to you would be, Maurice, I hear you, right? And I'm sensing that you feel that because of those things, that something's not enough in you. Like you're missing something, and it's about you. And first, I'm going to tell you that, number 1, you're not alone. And number 2, you weren't born judging yourself like that. You weren't born comparing yourself to others. It's all conditioned. And so what we want to do is get to the root of why might that be?
Mm.
So this is something he did not invent it, but Dean Graziosi made it famous on the Lewis Howes podcast. And he calls it seven levels deep. I've tweaked it slightly and made it more about your subconscious mind, and we call getting into the root of it. So I'm like, Maurice, why is it important for you to have 100,000 followers?
Because I think it equates to my financial freedom.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Why is financial freedom important to you, Maurice?
Because I grew up in a situation where I had lack of.
And why is it important to you not to be in another situation where you had lack of?
Because I didn't feel the greatest. I saw how my family struggled and the challenges that my brother and I had. So, no, that's really an important feature, one. And then number two, my friends, when they call me and say, hey, Maurice, we're going to Tahiti today, and I can't go, I can't join, so I want to be able to be in that space as well.
Okay, so you said a lot of things in that one. Let's take that apart a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important for you? Can you tell me a little bit before I ask my question? Can you tell me a little bit about those challenges you and your brother faced?
Now I'm gonna give you some realness of myself.
Yeah, do it.
Because of single parent home, my mom did work 2 jobs, and so I am there with my brother, and so it's just the two of us. I'm the older brother, and so we didn't always have the plethora of things under the Christmas tree or a whole bunch of clothes and things like that. When we look at some of our friends and things, those type of things. So, as you grow up, sometimes you want to say, hey, I want to change that. But again, Yvonne, as I look at you, now I'm going back to my fictitious space. So Yvonne, when I take a look
Let's
at you,
keep it all real.
Well, I'm not worried about the 100,000 followers though.
Oh, okay. Keep going. Keep going.
So because I also know, I understand that 100,000 followers does not equate to money. Sometimes the right person at the right time at the right place. But anyway, but but because of the 100,000 follower mentality, because that's all we hear, right?
Yeah.
I felt as though, and I look at these influencers and the pictures that they show, because they have all these followers, I think that it equates money. So that's why, because of the mix of my realness and the fakeness of life, that's why I feel like as though I need to get to this certain point.
Well, let's go back to the realness.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it important? Why was it important? And why is it important for little Maurice and adult Maurice to be able to have those things underneath the tree, and the gifts and the parent that doesn't work?
Well, I felt as though that, at that time, because again, as everyone else, when they're coming outside with their new bikes and all those type of things, and, showing, everything they had underneath the tree, and I didn't have as much, again, it's the lack, or the idea of lack. Not understanding, again, now, adult Maurice, understanding the situation, a lot of that was show, and the appearance of even their parents having the lack of, because they didn't know how else to show love and have conversations and things like that. So there was some growth that I know I had to go through personally. Again, we're talking about real space of saying, hey, yes, that stuff looks nice, but one, we do it, that doesn't show exactly how I feel throughout the whole year, right? And it's not a one-time thing, because we show love, we express ourselves throughout the year, we support each other. It's not just all in one day. It's not just all in one sitting. It's throughout every day, every moment, every conversation, every look, all those feelings are in some of the little things that sometimes we take for granted. So that's some of the things that I know personally I had to learn as I grew up. But the little Maurice didn't see that. He saw the toys. Hey, that's how you show love. I want toys too. I want to be outside playing with my Transformers with everybody else.
I love the Transformers.
So I think that's the things that I had to deal with growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you're not alone. I would encourage anybody that's listening, go download, it's free, the Getting to the Root of It. And what you do is you ask yourself, why is that important? 7 to 8 times. I think I have 7 on there. Go to 8.
Mm-hmm.
What happens, especially with entrepreneurs and business owners and business leaders, we go full steam ahead
Mm-hmm.
to try and get those 100,000 followers or try and get success. And we actually don't know why we're doing it.
Right.
We think we know why we're doing it, right? Like it sounds like you've done some self exploration. And
Oh
so
yeah.
you know better now. The grand majority of folks, and including myself for 25 years, didn't know better
Right.
because we just knew what was around us. We just knew what we were raised with, right? So I encourage you, if you are struggling, or even if you've hit it like a plateau and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
crap, what do I do next? Get out of the chase and get into the attract. And how you become a magnet is by, back to that energy word, by understanding what is it that is my authentic desire.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, we talk about desire in my tribe too. I'm like, I ask people like, what do you think about when you hear the word desire? And some people are like, it's all anonymous. Some people are like rated R, and some people are like chocolate. And some, I'm like, then there's somebody like rated R with chocolate. I'm like, okay, whoa, we got to go back to PG-13.
Right.
But we don't even necessarily stop to think about the words, the meaning we have.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're like, oh, well, it's selfish to
Mm-hmm.
have desire. Or, you know, like my one tribe member, that's rated R. You really, really have a huge opportunity, no matter where you are on your journey, because you are limitless, to continue to grow and connect more deeply to your authentic self so that you are in the mode of attract versus chase. You don't
Mm.
chase success. What happens, Maurice? You were a kid. What happens when you play chase?
I
The
mean,
person you're chasing, do they run towards you?
oh no, they ran so fast. They still running today.
Right. I want you to think about that. I was in corporate America for 25 years, and a couple of years ago I came into this land of entrepreneurship, which is no joke, by the
Mm-hmm.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my clients that are entrepreneurs that I work with, they say the same thing. They want financial freedom. They want freedom of their time. They want freedom to explore what they want. They want freedom to share their gifts. And although that's why they started out, they get caught up in the chase, or they call it the hustle,
Mm-hmm.
and they call it the entrepreneurial edge. I'm like, no, that's the entrepreneurial like highway to an earlier death,
Mm-hmm.
because you create low grade stress constantly,
Yeah.
and that is proven to cause disease, which is proven to cause cancer. I don't know how many people I keep seeing posting like out of nowhere they're getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
Just get out of the chase. You don't have to hustle. You can create peace once you tap into your greatest asset, which is you.
Yvonne, first of all, I have to say thank you for coming on today. And thank you
Absolutely.
for making me sit down on a chair, on the couch today. But for those individuals that need to understand what the root for them are, where can they reach out to you and talk to you and follow your information, maybe even join your tribe so they can understand where they need to go and get to the next level for themselves?
Absolutely. Like, this is my passion play. I'm not doing this for any other reason. And so if you go to unlocklimitlessyou.com,
Mm-hmm.
there, and you can take a cool little quiz that helps you understand. It's less than 5 minutes. Unlocklimitlessyou.com/quiz.
Mm-hmm.
12 questions. It helps you understand what we were talking about earlier, your emotional intelligence, your way of being with yourself, and your way of being with others. And then you'll get free information about how might you open up your eyes a little bit to see something new, to find that key that you didn't know that you had locked yourself in your own prison, and how to get out and stay out. And then there's other things there. I've made it accessible so anybody at any stage in their journey, at any stage of financial ability, you can get anything from free to one-on-one sessions with me.
Mm.
And we do hypnotherapy, we do coherence therapy. It's not like your traditional therapy. Like it's in less than 2 months, you'll be free. In
Mm.
2 months. I guarantee like this, you will discover, you will learn more, you will find the freedom, you'll unlock yourself. And if you don't believe me, just go check out the reviews.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making this up. I have permagran. I have little smile wrinkles every time I watch my clients' stories and I see them grow. So there's so many things available to you there. And when in doubt, just schedule a call with me. It's a free discovery call. Take your self-love quiz though first.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some information and we have some information that then we can work through together, right? Or do your getting to the root of it. There's another free resource called the limiting belief lie detector, which is
Mm.
really cool and really fun. Take advantage of all those things, right? Learn about you because that's the best return on investment you could do for you and your business.
Wow. We thank you. I mean, all the free resources, we want to make sure that all that information is in the show notes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a free meditation. People are like, I can't meditate. I can't sit still. That's what I used to be like too. Meditation's a powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a free meditation, and then I practically give away the other ones. And it's kind of a combination of a guided meditation that takes you deeper into your subconscious mind if the hypnotherapy isn't quite available to you yet.
Mm.
If you're listening and you're like, oh, hypnotherapy, that's kind of weird. She's going to make me quack like a duck and bark like a dog. No, it's not your mama's stage hypnosis. It's something just super fabulous that you're always in charge. And when people say that, I'm like, you know what? You're already in a social trance. Like
Mm-hmm.
you've been in a social trance since you were probably 4. What we do is we help you get out of the social trance and choose your limitless life.
Mm. Nice, nice. So before we go, I have to ask you the question, Yvonne.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Tell me.
So, would you rather choose 3 doors or a fork in the road?
Do I get to choose all 3 doors?
Okay, so let me preface by saying this. Use your imagination. There are no limits. You choose however you want to answer the question, and there's no right or wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, 3 is greater than 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if I choose to be able to explore all 3 or all 2, I will choose the greater opportunity for exploration. And I would choose all 3 because I believe we are here on this planet. This is Earth School.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's in session. That'd be my other thing is don't wait to start learning about you and growing. And there's no wrong anything. There's no
Right.
failure. It's
Mhm.
all about exploration, learning, and growth. So I would choose I'm assuming in my story
Mm-hmm.
that there's more opportunity to learn in the behind the 3 doors than there is the fork in the road.
Now, do you think you will open up all 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Why would you ask that question, Maurice? Like, why would I take advantage
I
of
would
it?
open up one, I'd go and explore, I'd learn everything I could, and then I'd come back, tell everybody about it, and then I'd go into the next one and do the same thing.
Nice. But see, you know what? In a situation like that, just how you said you would go and bring back the information, everyone is not in that mindset where everyone doesn't want to share the secrets to how to get to another level. And I really thank you very much for showing and sharing some of that tidbit today. You really did that.
Awesome. Well, that's my purpose and my passion is because here I believe I'm also a yogi.
Okay.
I'm a certified yoga instructor, even though I don't teach for a profession. Yoga means union. And
Mhm.
I believe, just like we talked about, skin's overrated, we're all connected, right? And I believe in an abundance mindset, not a lack mindset. So, of course, I'm going to share. Of course, I'm going to help everybody else grow because that's going to be a better place for us all to live and
Right.
we can rise. Like, there's no limit. That's why we call our company Limitless You.
Mhm.
It's limitless us, it's limitless we. It's a we, not a
Mhm.
me. And that's what I hope that through teaching and then teaching others to pay it forward, that we all can become a limitless we. And we can actually, even though we're most technologically connected right now, we
Mhm.
are the most disconnected as a race.
I agree.
So I want us to be as deeply connected as possible with everyone as possible, because that's how we're going to raise the vibration of this planet.
Wow. Everyone, Yvonne's information will be in the show notes. So most definitely, if you're riding on your motorcycle, you're driving through the woods, I don't care what it is, her information will be there. And for those of you who understands how to meditate, please share it with someone else, because that's something that I learned myself, and that has helped me out tremendously.
It's a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. But Yvonne, thank you very much for coming on the show.
I'm so happy to be here. It was a great conversation. Enjoyed it thoroughly.
Sure. And I did too as well. And of course, y'all, thank you very much for listening to That Will Nevr Work podcast. And I'll talk to y'all just a little bit later.
Thanks for listening. Follow Maurice Chism on social media to stay connected, and check back weekly for new episodes. Until next time, that will never work. Or will it?